Thank you, Torah Anytime. Kavash Gacha Pratis. Thank you, Yafa. Thank you. Kalaloshin. Now, there's a pasuk in the Heilige Torah that there's going to be pain in the Teichacha, even much more than what we said, than what the Torah says, much more than what it says. It's exactly what happened by the Nazi Holocaust. Now, the Teichacha didn't say enough. What went on there? You know that the Yidden in Palestine, in Eretz Yisrael, when Ramel Yamach Shemai came in, the desert fox, who was going with his stunning victories, he was invincible, Kaviyachal. He never lost a battle. And he was lightning. He knew all the information of the enemy. He was very sharp. He knew everything, and he was mowed down everybody in his path. He was a Shrek. And the Germans he was self-confident. You know what happened to him? He had a nervous breakdown. He didn't want to get out of the hospital. He was all stressed out. David said, did one job in him, Mr. Ramelbist, in the garbage. You're not worth a penny. Suddenly Hitler decided I don't like him, and he was his pet. And he said, Rommel, take your pick. You want me to hang you or take some poison? That was the end of Rommel. But anyway, he was a ganze lightning guy, what he didn't do. And the Yidden in Eretz Yisrael at Yidua, Mufursim, they said we'd rather be killed than see a Nazi alive, because the atrocities that those animals did was ridiculous. What they did was unbelievable. Humanity never experienced such madregas in cruelty as a Nazi Yemachsham. Amalekim at their worst. Now, Mida Taiva Maruba. If it says in the Heilige Torah, there's going to be so much more tsaris that the Torah didn't even mention. Then when a person's davens to the Rabbeinu Shalom, and he's looking forward to a good future, he has to have in mind things that he never even dreamt of. Neither type of Maruba. I heard this from Rabbi Zatzal. He once told me, do you know what the Eibishter wants to give us? Now what do we have from Bereshis? What the Eibishter Muskel Rishon. What do we have from learning about Bereshis? Ideal. We're sitting in Gan Eden, like Adam Rishon, and Malachim are roasting Gan Eden meat, whatever that means. And they're sifting Gan Eden wine, which is indescribable. And he's sitting there having a blast that you can't explain. And he's super beautiful. And he's super strong. And the animals are like jokes to him. A lion is like a cutie pie, Bobby. You can't touch me. Adam Arishain. Adam Arishain. That's the ideal what the Rabbeinu Shalom wants to give us. The Bali Bטחון, when they get moving, they gotta think big. Don't be afraid to be in the skies. What are you scared of? Practical, you gotta be practice. You gotta be practice. Face reality. Hashem's crazy of us. He doesn't know what not to give us. His goodness doesn't know. He created. Imagine how much tzar he had when he had to kill the mitzvah. He couldn't listen to Shira when those rotten Egyptian Rishoyim were drowning. It bothered him. So imagine a Yid when you want something. Think big. Think big. Imagine what you could get. Anything. Anything. Hakel Yachal means anything. Think big. All the big Torah builders were a little bit out of it. Fun of Rav, Reb Gershon, I remember they made fun of Reb Nosson, Reb Shnei, all these people. Oh, what do you think you're going to do? Yeah, look at Lakewood. It's a joke. Look what's going on. So much Torah going on in the world. It's all the power of Bטחון of Jews. So much Torah. All these Batim Midrashim waking up and Netzbinyan. They're all over the place. Thousands and thousands of Balabatim, many Torah sitting and learning the wealth of Torah and Yerushalayim going on all over the world. Musa, everything. We got it all. You see, well, this is just the beginning. A little tiny taste of Yemaisa Mashiach, Malar Tzdeya. Malar Tzdeya, the world is going to be full of the truth. Everyone's going to sit and learn with Yishmak. Gan Eden coming up. That's the way a Yid has to think. Yid has to think big. Don't be afraid. You deserve everything. You know, I want to tell you something. Okay, look. You have a specific issue right now. What are you getting out of this stuff? You need this? You're flying in the air? What are you trying to do? What's Mendel want? I want you to know, my Rabbeim taught me in France, there is a phenomenal story in Madregas Adam, Bakoshas Ashlemus, of the Alta von Novandig, where he takes apart the story of Nagdim and Ben Gurion, how he stopped the sun, and he made the sun go backwards. Should have they? And he got all the water. The whole story is just unbelievable. So I asked the Novandig, what do you want to get out of this? I'm going to do that. Keep learning it. Keep learning it. Keep learning it. Every time you learn it, something's happening to you you're not aware of. And every time you're talking to Das Balabais, who tell you, well, you have to have your feet on the ground. Sometimes they're right, by the way. You have to know. Beware. Sometimes I have told people, my Rebbe, Rabbi once told me to stop being such a Baal B'tachon. Whoa, what happened to you? He never did that. Come out once, he did it. And he explained to me, you're not on the Madrega that you were yesterday. You need a different approach. So go to the doctor, big spiel. You go with B'tachon. Sometimes you don't know, there is such a thing as, but of course we aim to be big, and we don't get this spoil. Now, when you are always talking lofty thoughts about B'tachon and these pipe dreams, things are happening to you. You're not aware of it. They are kind of shvisa in your system, and you're getting more B'tachon oriented. Now, look, you're not ready to fly somewhere, but you're talking about those things. Things are happening to you. You're getting ways of thinking. And of course, when you're talking to people around you, that they're talking all their fears, and well, you got to face reality of that type of stuff. It also does things to you. Not so healthy, usually. I want to mention that a person has to always be done yourself l'kaf s'chus. Always! Day and night! The best of Chassidim say that. Keep that up! Your heart's going to rip your papa. You did this, you did that. No, none of that stuff. Now I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to put down Chas v'Chalila. A person like Rabashkin, Kaddish, or there were other Lubavitch's punked. A lot. There were Yidden. There was a Yehuda Meislik. Chus Yegan Aleinu. He was a Slobodka Talmud. He was in a Soviet jail for 2 years. It was Chazi Mishnayim. He was a Malach. He had guests and a lot of Lubavitchers. A famous Lubavitcher, I forgot his name. And he went through Gehenna and in jail. What the Frierdiker Rebbe went through over there. What they did to him. And what so many, and the Vardigas, there was a Vardigar of Shmuel Weintraub, serious nefesh, what these people had in Russian jails and everything. A lot of holy people. But I want to say something about us. Nosson Zatzal, Nosson Wachtfogel used to say about the Ovis, the greatness of the Ovis. They were like horses running against the stream. against the current. That's what the Avodas Hashem of the Elvis. We're starting out with the Elvis. There are so many people today that are in a jail, and they're running against the stream. Half the guys I know. And it might not be a physical jail. They might not be as glorious in their Avodas Hashem as someone who was in jail and held himself and then came out. But he's just as bad. He's going to get the same schar. Because he's got the Yehуда, the leftwards Zatzal said, don't shepherd an Eishrim. They have thousands of voices telling you they're not worth a penny. They are the others. To be Oved Hashem despite all that negative flack going on 24/7. I'm no good, I'm not giving it. And you're moving on? You're the others. What's the difference between you and the others? That's exactly what it means. Every person this door, they're loaded. They're the others. Be proud. Klal Yisrael has to be proud of themselves. They're all over the place. Oh, negative thinkers. They say, I'm Nebuch, a negative thinker. Don't say Nebuch, Bubby. You're not Nebuch. You're like the others. You're moving despite 1,000 voices telling you you ain't worth a penny. And you're still moving? That's the others. You are a Gilgal of Avraham Avinu. Be proud. Imagine who you are. Don't make away with that stuff. It's simple. It's emes. Abishta himself is maskim to me. I have no suffix. Titus emes oisem aviu. You know, I don't lie. I'll tell you the truth. I'm a spal for the truth. Simple as all that. I hold all my Torahs true. I daven for it. How could it be different? I'm a tumen. Okay, now I'm going to speak to you about all the smart people. Yes, Rabbi say, anybody who drinks Jack is a smart guy. I'm joking. It doesn't have to be Jack. It could be Johnny. It could be vodka, Smirnoff. It could be Kedem. It could be anything. As long as it's got at least 20% alcohol, or else don't talk to me. I was very, very hurt. Terribly hurt. I went to a family simcha. I want to be nice to my relatives. I was rather not in Lakewood this week. You didn't feel? Rabbi say, tell me the truth. You didn't feel that I wasn't here in Lakewood? Come on. You didn't feel something was wrong? Come on, don't tell me different. I know the truth. It was terrible. And I was very, very, I'll say it in public. I'm so angry. My wife saw how depressed I was when I came back from the family simcha. They served me 9% alcohol. That's what you give your uncle? That's the low opinion. 9% is for kids. Why? Give me Pepsi already. A guy like me, I want the real thing. I'm a drinker. I'm not stubborn guy. I like to drink. Come on, Chevra. Gotta listen. Not push it. You gotta drink. Anyway. So, what was I up to? What was I up to? No, he gotta help me out. Help me out, Rabbi Say. What do you say, Aaron? Who? Tairas emes ha'isa b'fiyu. Rabbi Say, what? Daven for? And it's emes. We are all Avraham Avinu, the best. Our daughter is nothing like us. Every one of us. There are no exceptions. I know the matzav. You know who calls me up? Did you hear? The whole world's on my case. I know everything going on. I know the score. They're as holy as could be. I want to tell you something. Last week, I had in one day 2 people, Kedusha issues, crying with tears. So I don't know, whatever's going on, it's not even important. The guy's having problems with Kedusha, crying. It's a Kiddush Hashem! When somebody cries for more Kedusha, don't look for trouble. If you have Kedusha, stay there. Don't look for no trouble in that, so that's a dangerous territory. That's not it. A guy should be crying, him, two of them. I had two guys crying over Kedusha. That's a joke? You know how high that person is in Shemayim? Crying. Hashem sees those tears. They're crying, we want more of the truth. I'm so proud. Such a nation. These are the bad guys. There's no bad guys in my books. Oh, no. You know what that's worth? Nobody knows nothing. You know what the disciple told somebody? A guy who Nebuch, Hashem Yerachim, who's going through cold over ulcer. The disciple said, if you try to control yourself for 1 second from that garbage, I'm ready to stand up for you right now. And the guy came for that reason. He wants to improve. You can't. There are holy Jews. Not everybody learns as good as another guy, but he wants to. Hashem Yerachim. He's precious. Anyway, here comes the latest Meifsim. The latest Meifis, Rabbi Isai. Guy calls me up. Rabbi Mendel. The guy's a Magachir. He's a Choshev Yidin. Vayayim. And Zak. We don't want you. Calls me up crying on the phone. Mendel, I need a job. And he's a Magachir. He's a Besmedrish Bacher in the city. And no job. In 1 day he's out. You know what I told him? Go thank Hashem all day long for not having the job. And then the first thing in the morning, write down the prescription of what you'd like. They should come over to me and they should want me. He did it, and I says, I give a bracha in 1 day you're getting it. You'll have it right away. I don't remember none of this stuff. But he tells me, he's still on my machine, this guy. You want to hear him? It's private, so I won't play him. I got a lot of guys that I keep there, especially the guy that said, since Adam Marishan till now, there was never a great person like me. That guy's sitting there forever. I'm not erasing you, pal. You stay. You're up my alley. You know what the guy said? You know what the guy said like this? He said, one other guy said, somebody davened, he thanked Hashem an hour a day, that I think the Chayza thanked an hour a day for the Yevishah giving us an neshama of the Lady Yisra Meditcha. And he feels he has to daven an hour a day, thanking Hashem for giving an neshama of Yehуда Mendel. He's also still sitting there. I have some people that stay there. I don't erase him. No, you can stick around. You're important. You're an important message. Important message. Get a little chizik. You know what he said of Nassim Breslov? He said the whole of Nachman Breslov was that much chizik. The whole Baal Shem HaKudosh was that much chizik. Whole Arizal was that much chizik. The whole Rashbi was that. It's all chizik. So, the more chizik, I stick to that. Any compliment, I don't want to say anything because it's not nice. Look, you got to watch out. The cover I'm getting lately is beyond. I'm more shikah. Somebody told me about, I don't want to say, but he made me bigger and better. Like, see, even in a joke, I'm a little, not so, you know, is, but when you're working on Kinah Sefer and Tabel Chachma, sometimes you're supposed to, give yourself a pat on the back. Yes, I am much better than anyone else, okay? That's the fact. Anyway. So, I had two other cases that I have written. I have two guys, two different Chassidish guys. Each one had a 5-year-old boy, one had a 5-year-old girl. Trying to get into Meisters, both were told, you're not getting in. And both guys wrote down, they changed their mind, they liked me, I hit it off. The next day they came over, oh, I changed my mind. Isn't that something? Two different guys, they got him in. You're right what you want. I have such a, did I have a mindset? Somebody once did a job on me. I don't want to talk. Who did he destroy me to no end? This is, believe it or not, it's true. I mean, he tried to, but he's talking to the wall. You know who I am? You can't destroy me. Me and the Abish are like this. You don't mess with me. Anyway, he chapped me, this fellow. I wrote down a whole shtick Torah about how it turned around. And this is serious stuff. He was boom, 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 and I don't want to talk details. That's exactly what happened. I took a little time. I davened. Everything I wrote came true. I once had trouble with blood pressure. And I wrote, you have 120/80. It didn't make sense at all. Those days, they once took my blood pressure with Shreklach. So I told Rabbi said, they're crazy in the emergency room. Everyone's nervous. It doesn't mean nothing. Forget it. That was the end. You know, I don't advise taking your blood pressure. I don't advise it. You think I'm crazy? You want to take it? As soon as you take it, just by taking it, your blood pressure is shooting up. Just, you walk into the office, you're in the car. True or not? It's not accurate. And every time you come back, it went higher. It's also not accurate. You're fine. I say it's better go with the Eibishter. You don't have a choice. So you're going to turn into a bundle of nerves. Even if you're not sick, you'll be sick. The way the doctor talks, and his stern look on his face, like he knows it all. That's the doctor. You know what a doctor is? You know what happened in Israel when the doctors went on strike for 2 weeks? 30% decline of deaths. They didn't want him back. That's a doctor. You want him? By the way, some of my best friends are doctors at Tzadikim and Gemurim. There are a lot of good guys among them. Believe it or not, you could even be a doctor, and you could even be right once in a while. Not too much. Chas v'shalom, chas v'shalom. No. Chas v'shalom, chas v'shalom. Chas v'shalom, chas v'shalom. Go to the doctor. You know how many G'dai Yisrael encourage people? Go and listen. And I have a lot of that stuff. And then they come to me. And then they come to me. And they say, Mando, what should I do? I says, you have a Rebbe. What do you want from me? You have a Rebbe. You coming to me? So they tell me, you know what the Rebbe told me to do? You want to hear a story that the Rebbe told me to do? If I'd be the Rebbe, I'd say it too, by the way. The guy had 4 issues. I mentioned this case once. It's the only one I remember, but I have a lot like this. 4 children have a psychological, serious stuff. This guy has bipolar. The sister has ADHD. The other sister has OCD, OCD. I don't even know the names. This guy is borderline personality disorder. There's all kinds of good stuff out there. You want to sound intelligent? Give a guy a stempel. He'll finally feel important in his life. I have this. You know, I have. You have a special. Why don't you carry a badge? I'm an OCD member, or ADHD, or Do you know what happened today? If I say this is true, I hope my principal is not listening to this one. Rabbi Gilbert, get off! Please get off! This is not for you. Please get off! Rabbi, I love him. He's my principal. I owe him a lot. Anyway, he was smart. He hired me. He's a smart man. I respect. If you hired me, you must be a smart man. He hired me, and actually not such a cotton. There's no one like me around. You know that. Anyway, he's the one like him either. He's good. He's a great person, Rabbi Gilbikes. This happened today, fresh off the press. I had my old class davening, and I walked out of the classroom. And I disappeared all the way to the Rebbe's room. In the middle of the kids, please, all the parents, get off the phone, please. This is not for you. At the PT, well, talk already. Keep away from me. I don't want no parents on the telephone. Please, get off. L'chaim. I left the classroom in the middle of davening. And I went into the Rebbe's room. And there's the principal. And he looks at me, oh, hello. What brings you here? It's so nice to see you. You know, and he wasn't alone. There were two principals there, all sitting there together. Oh, we got you. We caught you in the bag. That's it. You're dead. We caught you. Rabbi in the middle of the classroom. Boom. Hey, please, all you principals, please get off. This is not for you. And a scandal a Rebbe should do. What? A Rebbe? What? A Rebbe? He's supposed to. You know, the Rebbe's supposed to do this, and you're supposed to. And if not, chas v'sholom, and they paskin there. Okay, I was out, and I went out for about 2 minutes on the clock, by the way. But that's okay. It's fine. I went out, and I said to him now, and he says, "What brings you here?" I tell him, Rabbi Gilbax, you don't chop what's going on in this world. I have ADHD. I'm supposed to be doing these things, or else I can't live up to my image that I have. I have ADHD, just like the wildest kids in your school who are driving you crazy. I'm one of those. Anyway, I have ADHD, and by the way, maybe you're behind the times, but the average guy you and me know are all b'chezkas ADHD. Everybody's b'chazoket. They're all like, that's the matzav. You want me to sit there like a straight? This is true. I'm not joking. This is all true. You want me to sit there like a straight child? You think I'm crazy? Did you hire a nut? What do you do? What you do? Baruch Hashem, you have a normal guy who has to go in for a break. He says, yeah, but the kids, no Rebbe. I says, you want to go in there? And there's not one kid that's not davening. Go ahead, take a look. You see, and you know why they're so good? Because they have a great principal. I tell her this, aha! So Mendel knows how to chanpa the manayel. I says, by the way, the other manayel was there, and I said, the other guy is also like, yeah, I did my job. And then he says, oh, you chanpa the manayel. I says, you know, speaking of chanpa the manayel, I'm scared stiff. Then the next world they're going to tell me, why didn't you chanpa the manayel more? I plan to do more of that stuff. Don't worry, we're getting there. This is just the beginning. That I made up. That last stickle I made up. Everything else is real. Mama's fresh off the press. Now you know what I'm all about. You know what I did with a cop? Uh-oh. Any cops, any authorities, please keep away. This is not for you. X-rated stuff. Get lost. It's not for the authorities. They're not. This is true. This is 1,000% true. You know when I come, 88, come inside, Route 88, the car goes, you get onto Route 88, and you got to make a turn to Cedar Bridge, right? You know what that is. There's a green light that lasts about 2 seconds, right? The green arrow going left. If you get on there, you're fine. If you don't, you have to sit there like a klutz because it's a red light, So for a minute, you can still make it. So, and there's a line. Now, I don't like to be a wise guy and go ahead and then sneak into the line. I don't think it's fair. I will stay all the way at the back of the line and wait my turn until Mashiach comes. But if I'm late to school, I say, sorry. I do a lot of people. I just go a little ahead, then I cut in. So I do that. If I'm late, it's a different ballgame. Different halachas. Different shulchan aruch. You're late, the Rebbe. These guys are not Rebbes. You can wait. I got to go. That's it. So I get in, and there's a cop over there. A cop car. So I was planning on getting ahead of him. No problem. Where does it say you can't get ahead of a cop? These state does in the driver's manual, you can't get ahead of a cop. I promise you, this is all true. I was trying to get ahead of the cop, but the cop I say he knew how to drive, and he got ahead of me. No, all right. So I got right behind the cop, and he started going, and he made that, and that arrow, then first it's green, then it turns yellow, right? And then you better hurry or else boom. So it was getting yellow already, and the cop made a quick turn, and I quickly made a turn right after him. And as soon as I did that, the cop stops his car, and he pulls out his hand, and he stopped right there. Uh-oh. Now, Novhardok has taught me to be machnia. Just because you're in Novhardok, you can't follow rules. I once wanted to park backwards. And nowadays, they all do it. Today, it doesn't mean anything, but those days, people are still normal. If you park backwards, it looks a little funny. Someone says, Chaim Halpern about doing it. He says, no way. You're machnia to the system. It's important. Novhardok is made shtick, but they were normal. Oh, boy. You have to follow the system. You have to know when and where. Okay. Now, so so the cop stops me, and I tell him, he says, you passed the red light, he tells me. The first thing he says, I apologize. He says, but then I tell him, well, I was following you. So I told him. That was over, he left me alone. I followed. No, when I see cops, I always compliment them. Officer, you're doing a great job. You know how they blush? They're humans. A cop is human. Don't look at a cop like a god. He's a cop. So what do you want from the poor guy? It's a boring job. Have to walk around all day and walk around like sometimes they're tough, sometimes. I like cops. They're all best friends with me. They don't start up with me. I'm just kidding. But I could say nasty things under my breath. I have only one. I have the ageist up there. I'm not afraid of nobody. Get out of here. I'll be machnia to be a mensch. But why are you afraid of a cop, a judge, a rich man? I told you what I did. This Chalamari. I don't collect money for Bטחון Weekly. Someone just gave me $100. He came from New York to see me. Here's $100. I didn't want to take it, but he insisted. Check. No, I usually do take something from you. Lo'ilam tikach. My Rebbe said, they once asked Rabbi Yeshua Liebman, what should they do? Somebody from Lakewood. Rabbi Yaakov said not to take food stamps in Section 8. Rabbi Moshe said to take. What do you hold? So you know what Rabbi Yeshua said? Rabbi Moshe is klug. Rabbi Moshe is smart. Lo'ilam tikach. So ever since I heard that, it's a shita. I always accept money. People ask me, how much do you take? I says, I don't ask for money. But if you give me, I take. But the policy, yes. With the stoltz, everything I do is with the stoltz. The shita, when I eat ice cream, it's also with the shita. We are eating ice cream. That's not stam. With the stoltz. Ice cream, you must eat ice cream.
Is that take from Russia? We Russia decides to give you.
Kedai to take from Russia? Take what?
Money.
I don't know the situation. Every case is different. Anyway, so Chalamayid. So Chalamayid, there I do collect. When it has to do with collecting for the chickens in Israel, when they tell you who don't have what to eat for Yom Tov, I can dafka collect. And I went into this big shul, and I hunted all the rich guys that I'm petrified to see. Don't mess up your relationship with him, and don't mess up your relationship with him the last time he smiled, or he didn't like it, or they were bothering him too much. And those types, it's a bundle of nerves when you meet those guys, forget it. Guess what I did? I promise you. Went over to one. How are you doing? I'll take 1,000 from you. And I got it. What? Yeah, I do that. So the other guy said, 2,000 would be okay for you. And he promised me, yeah, it's not fine. Oh, 1,000? That's a deal. No, I give suggestions, Suggested retail. And then I always have charata. I should have asked for more. You want to hear a true story? One of my chassidim, he's a real, like an Novhardok. He has grandiose schemes. He wants to shoot ahead. He wanted that we should make a new building for our shul. You know what this is? I'll tell you later. He says, Mendel, this bar mitzvah taking place. I'll tell you what a mitzvah was. It was over there by where YTT used to be. Shacha. He remembers. You're the best. You know the story. So anyway, he says, go ask that Gvir for $1 million. What? What? 5 million? Could be. I remember $1 million. Could be 5 million. Anyway, now I needed $3,000 for my Bטחון weekly. I was short. But he's telling me we need a building, ask for $1 million or 5 million. So I say Shalom. He says, he's a very nice guy. Go over to him. I never met him in my life, but he looked like a nice man, an Edel Yid. I walked over to him. Shalom Aleichem. My name is Yehуда Mendel, and I have a whole movement of the Vardigas, and we're planning on building the building. Can I have $1 million? According to say 5 million, can I have 5 million? It'll be on. He looks at me. I said, I didn't possibly, as an Vardiga, not to do that. It was a little funny to me too. Like, what are you doing? Shalom Aleichem will take $1 million. Anyway, so I tell him. So he says, in a very, he's sweet like sugar. He's a fine Yid. There's no question about it. He says, well, I don't have right now. Maybe we'll put it. We'll discuss them all the time. They say in America, when you're collecting, how do you say? What does yes mean? What does no mean? Yes means the guy says yes. No means we'll discuss it. That means no. It's a way of saying no, So it gets that. So I says, all right, how about 3,000? Oh, certainly. He made a check. He was so overjoyed. All he wants is 3,000. I promise you, it's a true story. Remember? I got my 3,000. The Abish that helps me, Anyway, so I went around. Now I wanted 10,000. I must have made about 12, maybe 15,000. That's it. It already wired to my son, most of it. And then Baruch Hashem, my son said to anyone else, I'll take 1,000 from each. I'm joking. Now, the Baruch Hashem, the smiles on their faces. My son is a gabbai there in Kiryat Sefer, the biggest B'nai Torah in the world. They were so happy with the money that I gave them. It was Taka Gavaldi. I was finished collecting, and there was a bris in Kel Shimshon, and there was a famous Gvir that I'm very with him like this, I am scared, believe it or not. And I says, look, I already have the money I need, but I need another prat. I miss that sweet flavor of trying not to be afraid of people. So I went over to this famous Gvir, and I says, I'm collecting Kiryat Sefer. How about 2,000, So he apologized, it was over. But this guy, he says, you got to see me in the house. Okay, you make me come to your house. Who do you think I am? I'm joking. I didn't say that. The Alto of the Valley could have done that. I've seen Reb Gershon sit by. He was sitting by the Sigat Rebbe in Monroe. I was sitting there. My brother was sitting there. And Reb Gershon was sitting like this. And his assistant from Yitzhak Lindsberg was Yeshiva Daf Haben Geld, And Reb Sigat was sitting over here. Reb Gershon was here. And Reb Lindsberg was there. He was his assistant. And he was doing all the talking. Reb Gershon was sitting like this. Reb Gershon was like, cool as could be. He looked like, I have no business with you. I have to do this, I'm coming. He really couldn't care less. I'm a little bit like that at this point. I meet Gvirim, I don't feel, he's a Gvir. What does that mean? He's supposed to get nervous? The blood pressure is going to shoot up because the guy's a Gvir. Whenever you meet a Gvir, you're supposed to, because he's a Gvir. What does that mean? Or Rosh Hashivas. Everybody's, why does your blood pressure go up when you start Shemin Esrei? The Melech Malchem Lachem HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that's when this blood pressure got to go up. You know who you're speaking to? The Abish themselves. Look, when that happens, we'll talk about the Gvidim and the doctors. The doctor, The doctor comes in with a stern look on his face, and the look on his face can kill. Ba'apam horgu ish. You think it's a joke. How many people, what the doctor does to you, the way he talks, can he kill you? The way he keeps you waiting in suspense, and the way he presses the blood pressure without speaking, and you're waiting. Say something already. Say something. And he's pumping, and your heart's boom, boom, boom. If you ever had low blood pressure, say goodbye. That experience will make it shoot up, I promise you. My blood pressure is very high. And I told Rabbi, and he says, yay, anybody can go to emergency. I was in the emergency room. No, what do you expect? Get lost. And I never went back. Baruch Hashem, keep away. You want to keep your blood pressure low? Avoid blood pressure tests. Avoid doctors. Every time you look it up, now it could be up, and your brain is flying all over the place. And now I did this wrong and that wrong. I got to lose weight. And I got it. You know, Chaim Kanevsky, someone complained to Chaim. I heard this. I don't know if it's true or not. Somebody complained. Chaim, people are making fun of me that I'm fat. You heard what Chaim told him? Look at me. I'm okay. Chaim Kanevsky says, Ich bin auch so. I'm heavy. So, is it killing you? You know what kills you? The worry kills you. I'm telling you. When you fresh extra, you know what makes you gain weight? The daiga. This is going to make me gain weight. That makes you gain. I promise you. If someone would tell you you're eating fatty stuff when you're eating a weight loss, whatever that could be, you're going to gain weight because you think you're gaining weight. The brain. They once told the guy he was eating fatty foods, and there's certain chemical reactions to fatty foods that makes the body go along. Now, he didn't know he was eating not fatty foods. He thought he was, and his whole body acted like he was eating fat. And boom, here we go. He'll gain weight, no problem. So on the cup, I have a girl. She's not a girl, she's a kala, big tzaddikus. I hope she's listening. I don't know if she still listens to me, but she is a 20-year-old kala, a tzaddikus. She listens to me. I never heard of her. But she listens to, I don't know if she listens to me. She listens to, what's his name? To the hotline. She's a hotline. So see this stuff, the hotline. Right? So it got back to me. I once said something, I had charata, I shouldn't say it for the public. But I said you could lose weight while you eat a lot. It happened to me, honestly. It really, really, really happened. It happened on my records. I ate double and I lost weight. I was holding there. At that point, it was working. So Golumbus said this in public. Boy, all the ladies went to town. Rabbi Golumbus went, they naked him with sugar. So one of them, a 20-year-old girl, decided, I'm going to do it. And she did it. In fact, she wrote me a letter. I says, write down all the details. She lost weight, 20 pounds. And she ate. And when she ate a cake in the middle, and she cheated, you know what she did? She said, Rabbi Mendel said, if you go do the wrong thing, just say Adarabba, and you'll lose even more. I promise you. It worked. You want to, all the ladies, that's an address for them. A 20-year-old, you know what else she did? She became a kala right afterwards. And she said, by the way, that was the first boy I met at 20, and that's it. And it's a shit, big time. He's a great guy. He comes here. He's he's sweet like sugar. She has good taste. I'll tell you, I don't know what her diet is, but she has a good taste. The chasanim, was here, sweetie. Anyway, so she said it was the first one. She said, you know why? I was mispal. I don't want to go around dating with 100 boys. Hey, Bishta, give me the first boy. I promise you. She's a kala with the first boy. Isn't that something? She's big. She is madrega. She's not regular stuff. No, I don't know any other ladies on her madrega. She should give courses to all the ladies how to lose weight. You got to be a tamam for that. I want to tell you, the smart people. Hanachash haya'arim mikol achayis. He was smart. Look what he did. Smarty. Parai said, Hova nischak maloi. Let's be smart. He started the whole Sheba Mitzrayim. The smart guys. That's what they do. Destroy the world. The Nachash destroyed the world because he was so smart. And Parai made the whole Hashem Yerachem what he did it, the Klal Yisrael, because he was smart. What do I recommend? I'm not into being smart. I'm against it. All the smarties, I'm against being smart. I recommend Noach ish tzadik tomim. Oh. Tmimis. And what does it say this coming week about Avraham Avinu? What does it say? V'hemin b'Hashem. He believed, that's enough. Without being smart. Don't be smart. That's the way to go. You know, the Kutzker Rebbe and Reb Gershon both, and the Alter von Novandik both said you got to be very smart. Was macht there? To be a Tamim. Be a Tamim, have Bטחון. I told you what happened to the younger man. Calls me up, Rabbi Mendel. He had COVID. For 2 days, he's in bed with all the symptoms. And then he says, remembered Rabbi Mendel. Now, Rabbi Mendel said COVID's baloney. You could turn it into baloney. You can put on the mask and you can get a little haba for doing what your Rebbe tells you to do. I'm not against, I'd rather don't push for that stuff at all. Like, I'm an easygoing guy. They say Sweden, Ada Yom, has just as much COVID. Just as much. Sweden does nothing with the whole COVID business. They're not garrison. And they have just as many casualties as any other country. The two worst ones, I saw this, you can look it up. Who put this out? One of the Sorotzkins. About the shows, Adam, put out a sefer, a very, very chashuv sefer in English. Very chashuv about these type of things. And he said that England and Israel are the two most into the COVID, and they make sure no one's getting it around here because everyone's vaccinated, and they had the most casualties. He has all the statistics. You want to read it? Poke those two countries who are going to know, he wanted to bring out. Get the message. Abish is punishing you. It's going to help you. Somebody has, it's leaking. It's leaking. Get a shmata. It's leaking. Put a shmata there. A few minutes later, it's leaking. Get another shmata. Boom. Get another shmata. What are you're going with sugar? The whole house is going to have all the towels and shmatas all over because it's raining and it's. Go to the water main, the main thing. Go give one today, and it's over. When a person has a problem, go to the main reason. You sinned. Do tshuva. Then no more COVID. COVID means covered. You're looking for COVID. That's your problem. Okay, I'm not getting involved in that. I did have Rabbeim. Reb Oizer Schwartz, whenever he had an issue, he found out why. A physical issue. What did I do wrong? He did tshuva and it disappeared in 2 days. Heard this from his wife. I heard it from himself. He looked at doctors, forget it. He once cut himself, his nose. And he was bleeding like he fell, whatever. The family was going with sugar, emergency room. And he said, give me a cotton. Leave me alone. 2 weeks, he disappeared. He figured out what he did wrong. Had a forced labor. That's the way he was. He lived his life with the Eibishter. I don't recommend that so fast for us guys. Oh, no. Not us. Don't you go around saying I did this sin, so that's why I got that. Don't you do that. How do you know? You don't know. But it looks like it. You know nothing. I heard this from Chaim Fogel. All three of my Rabbeim told me the same thing. How do you know? How do you know? But it looks like it. Right after I did that sin, this happened. The Yetzer Hara is playing a game with you. Keep away from that sugya of din. How about rachamim? You know how many times, you tried to do tshuva, that's worth nothing in your books, huh? It's with you. Always knocking yourself. How are you allowed to do that? It's Abba L'chaim. Would you do it to your friend? Knock yourself 24/7? Every move you make, this is no good, that's no good. Anyway, so so this friend of mine, he recovered from his COVID completely. In one day, he listened to Mandel, he got out of bed, he said, Mandel said it's all baloney. He said, it's baloney. He washed the dishes, he fed the kids, he gave them baths, he turned over the house. The next day he was back to normal. His wife doesn't like Mandel. His wife is not my type. His wife is not a tumen. She's orum. She's havanis chakbalai. Chas v'shalom. I'm joking. She's a nice lady. I don't know her from Adam. I don't even know him. This guy calls me up. He tells me, I don't remember him. I have hundreds of, the whole world's calling me. But anyway, but he told me his wife don't go for me. His wife stays in bed and suffers with excruciating pain. She doesn't go, so you don't want to be a tamim? Suffer. You want to suffer? Go suffer. Well, you have to listen to that. You have to be realistic. You have to do what you're supposed to be doing. So go ahead, lady. Now look, I'm not against that. Sometimes, again, I told you, my Rebbe once told me I'm not in the Madreg. At that point, if I took a break from my bטחון, I acted normal for a change. Doesn't happen often. Baruch Hashem. You live a different life. You live with the Rabbeinu Shalom. Look, I'll tell you the story. I've said this many times. I went to the leading specialist in the state with a certain disease that I had it. I mean, by all accounts, I had it 1,000,000%. And there was no hope for me. Boy, was that scary. It scared the daylights out of me. First I went to, I don't want to say the names, one of these places, and they said, Mandel, look at your tests. You're testing positive from A to Z. You see? And you have this. No, and you have that. And you have this. A whole chasana they made out of me. It's over. I was petrified. So then I went to my doctor. He's a Yer Shemayim, and he's my friend. He's more bטחון than more my type. And he laughed at them. The tests aren't accurate. You're fine. So he started giving me his antibiotics. Whatever he gave me, what he felt I needed. And I stood there for a week. And I was muchi zachud bטחון. And it didn't get better. And after 2 weeks, he had to concede, I can't help you. You got to see a bigger specialist. And he gave me a name. I went to the guy who was the #1 name in the state. From Jew. A little modern Orthodox type. Sweet like sugar. Those Jews, I'm crazy over those Jews. So nice. I like all those Jews. I don't care what they're like. With a shtreimel, without a shtreimel. Cool, shmuel. A Jew is a gem. I'm nuts over those Jews. They're out of this world. I remember him. You know what I miss? Yeah, I don't miss going to a doctor, but I miss the sweetness of that Jew. He was such a booby. Very successful guy. He was the #1 man in the state for that Indian. Anyway, and he had a whole, one of those guys who got a whole practice. He practiced a whole, a big, he was on them. They all know about him, all the hospitals, one of the big guys. And he says, Doc, what can you do for me? He says, he has some steroids for me, which are not considered. And I says, how much is it going to cost? He says, I don't want to tell you the price. He was going to give me from the office. He says, please tell me. I can't tell you the price. So it stayed like that. Who knows what? But you have, well, I have to pay. And to take a pill, maybe, it helped. I asked him like this, Doc, in my mind, can I cure myself? And he screamed at me, that way is the best way. bטחון. I says, okay, Doc, I'm getting to work. I spent a month screaming at myself. You jerk. There's nothing wrong with you. You want to be sick. You're good for nothing. That works on me. You do what you want. You're good for nothing because you're not learning, so you have to get sick. Or you're not, whatever, you're not davening, you're not this, you're not that. So you'll feel good by feeling sick. Cut it out. And every time I felt pain, I said, you don't tell me you have pain, Bubby. I know you. You've been doing this ever since you're a kid. Stop that. And I screamed at myself, 30 days I did that, I promise you. You know that I couldn't get out of, if I was on the floor, I couldn't get out of the bathtub. I was so weak. I had my symptoms. I wrote them all down. You forget everything. The Abish's goodness. I had red streaks coming. When I had this symptom, that symptom. I mean, it was real, like they say. Real. Real pain, real this and all the tests. Real. You're sick. And I say, there's only one thing real in my world. He's real. Everything else, baloney, don't bother me. I spent a month screaming at myself. I remember writing that how I'm recovering and everything's going better and this stupidity has passed. And then I look at it a month later, took me a month of hard work. I'm cured. The only thing I had left, I had pain here for another 2 years. It just disappeared. Boom. Now I have zero. So I cured myself. The Abish himself. You want to live a good life? Come join me. Don't get involved. Don't be afraid. Guilt? Lately I'm having guilt. This guy calls me up. I'm giving baracha for parnasa. Suddenly he's got parnasa. Lately I'm having my biggest, first of all, easy ladies. I'm having a lot of that. Ladies get birth easily. Another thing I get a lot is a good zman. You want a good zman? I'll give you a bracha. Watch what happens. One after another. Remember you gave me a bracha? I have never had such a bad zman. This guy told me it's 2 zman already. Let's hear another bracha. The guys, you want a bracha for a good zman? You're getting it. And Dave's a hope,